welcome. My name is Kia and I'm coming to you from Sweden in a small village outside of Gothenburg. This is my podcast, my channel here on YouTube where I share with you my crafty life. I'm a knitter and a spinner and I love all the woolly things and also other things that nature brings us. And we are in the season right now where nature brings us so much to enjoy. So autumn is just the favorite. And yeah, on social medias I am Kia Spod, on Instagram, on Ravelry, and I have a website kiaspod.se, and I will put up links. I will put up this video with links to the things I talk about on my website. So if there is anything you wonder about, just go on over to my website and have a look. I hope I will put all the links there. So if there is anything you're missing, just give me a comment and I will get back to you with links, or I will just add the links to my website. Yeah, that's the introductions, I think. I'm also on Ko-fi and on Patreon if you want to support my work with this channel. I'm so appreciating all the ones of you that are both buying me a cup of coffee on Ko-fi and subscribe to or joined me over on Patreon. It's amazing. I can't believe that you are so generous and supporting my work. I feel speechless. And something else that has happened since I talked to you the last time is that we have reached 10,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't believe that you are so many people watching this channel. Sometimes I just think that it's numbers. It's not real people, it's just numbers on YouTube. Because it feels not quite real. And I think that we have created a lovely community here around this channel. I feel really, really happy to have you all here. Without you, there would be no podcast from me if you weren't here. Feels amazing. And of course, to give something back to you, I will do a giveaway for the 10,000 subscribers. But I will talk a little bit more about that at the end of the podcast. But I just wanted to start this podcast by thanking you all so much for being here. I'm so glad to have you, every one of you. And also on Patreon and on Ko-fi and everywhere. I can't thank you enough. So, what am I wearing today? I am wearing my black, I'm calling it the Black Knight. This is also one of my own designs. It's a sort of part of the top-down collection. It's not a written pattern, but it starts the same way. It's a simple sweater, top down. You start with, I don't remember now, but 120 is a good number to start, depending on the needle size, of course. But yeah, and then doing the raglan increasing, and on this sweater I did a lot of special things, because I did the raglan with these holes as increases, and they are also going down on the side here, and I started to do for a split hem, but I didn't like the openness here, so I made a I-cord and did this drawstring braid sort of here, and I did the same under the sleeves and down here on the sleeves as well, attaching a little leather band. This is, I think, it's a sweater I reach for at least once a week. I have this sweater on because it's also a combination of linen yarn, flax, a linen yarn, and Holst Super Soft. So it creates a not so warm sweater. One thread of Holst Super Soft and one thread of this thin linen yarn is creating the perfect combination for me, because I'm also a little bit warm. So it's really nice to have this combination, and I'm not too warm inside. And I don't know, I haven't knitted, this is the first time for me knitting with Holst Super Soft, so I haven't really tried to knit with only one thread of Super Soft. But I can imagine it will create a sort of thinner, floppy fabric, but with the linen yarn as a friend, as a companion, when you knit it, it gives a sturdiness to the sweater. And I'm also really happy with all these small discreet details that I have put on it. That gives it some kind of interest, but it's not so loud, screamy. It's not showing off. It's just small nice details that are there to keep the interest. But yeah. And I also wanted to talk a little bit about raglan increases, because you increase for the raglan on every other row, not every round, but every other round. And to make these yarn overs when you make a raglan is the perfect way to remember if there is time to do the yarn over. Because the first round you do the yarn over, and the second round you knit the yarn over. And in this case I have just knitted it as it is, and then it creates a hole. But if you don't want the hole, you can just twist the stitch, and then you twist it to the right and twist it to the left on each side of the knit stitch that you have in the middle when you do the raglan. So it's a perfect way to do a raglan, to remember to do the increases, since it is obvious when you knit the yarn over, and when you come to the raglan and you don't see anything, it's time for a yarn over, and the next time you knit the yarn over. So it's obvious what to do all the time when you are doing the yarn over raglan. Otherwise you can pick up and create the stitch leaning right or leaning left. But it's easy to forget around or somewhere. Perhaps you remember 3 of them, but you forget the 4th or something. So it's really a good way to do a raglan increase, to remember to do it all the time when you are supposed to. So I just wanted to give you that little tips, because yeah, not everybody wants this obvious line with the yarn over holes, but it's also possible to twist that yarn over and then it creates a tight fabric, not a hole in the fabric. So that's something I did with this one. I don't usually do this with holes, but with this one it was so nice. And then to keep it going both under the sleeves and down the line, and also at the sides. When I did the split hems, I did the yarn overs on each side of the hem as well, so I could thread it with the I-cords. So it's really good. But when you do the holes like this, when you don't want to do increases, you have to do knit 2 together and then yarn over, so you don't create increased fabric. At this point you want it to stay straight like this. So yes, sort of part of the top-down collection, and if you're not familiar with that, it's a top-down raglan sweater that I have sort of made a recipe with 2 examples, and it's for free for my patrons. And yeah, it's basically a top-down raglan that you can just you start the same way you do your raglan, and then it's only your imagination that's keeping you from just making up all the funny things. Last week I had the mohair sweater with isager and Highland wool, and this time I'm wearing my Black Knight sweater. Yeah, a lot of my sweaters are my own designs or my own recipes, and yeah, I have found a style that suits me both knitting wise and dressing wise. So why change a winning concept? So that's what I'm wearing today. The previous podcast I talked a lot about mending my socks. I had gone through my sock drawer and bringing out socks and mended them, and yeah, it felt really good to be able to feel that I have gone through my socks and I have fixed them, and now I can wear them without you will pick up a sock and you put it on and no, that's a hole in that one, so then you have to start again. But yeah, I kept on doing not the socks this time, but I had a linen dress. My orange favorite linen dress was missing a button, and I decided it's time now, let's just fix it. Yeah, it feels so good when you actually go in and fix a small thing like that. It's these kinds of things that make me not put on that dress, because I know, that's a button missing on that one. So I will have to take something else. But now I have fixed it, and it often comes with extra button when you are buying a dress. They sew it on a label inside. So was this time, and the dress that you saw, the orange one, is from Knock Knock Linen, and it's a shop on Etsy. And yeah, you just I think you can buy sizes, or you can take your own measurements and they will hand make that dress for you. It's amazing. And that dress was actually with these kind of long sleeves from the beginning, but I realized I had it for, I think, over a year just hanging, and it wasn't one of those dresses that I reached for. And I realized it was because I don't like to have sleeves under my knitted garments. When I have sweaters or cardigans and so on, I felt a little bit, it always felt a little bit thick and not so easy. So I just decided, actually a couple of years ago, I cut off the sleeves, and now they are, it's a short sleeve dress. And I wear it so much. I wear it under these kinds of sweaters and also on the cardigans. I will wear that dress so much, and it's all to the small changes that we do on the things that we have, and they just become the dress that you love instead of the dress that you never wear. So this time it was just time to mend, to put on a button. But a couple of years ago, I don't remember, a couple of years ago perhaps, I did cut away the sleeves, and I have been wearing that dress a lot. So don't be afraid to go into your wardrobe and have a look at the things that you have, and perhaps just make small changes on it, and to see if they fit you better, if you will wear them better. You have already bought them and they are in your wardrobe, so fix them so you can wear them. That's my tips. I also told you the previous podcast that my husband's daughter and son had moved here to our cottage up here, and with them came a lot of knitted sweaters that I have made in the past. And I have told you way back, I told you about my knitting library. I have a big plastic box with a top on it, and I have my knitted garments that I don't wear that much. I don't have them in circulation. I have perhaps there is something with the fit or with the style or with something that I don't really like anymore. So I put it in that plastic box. And I have it as a knitting library. When they come, they can have a look if they want something, and if they already have something that they don't wear, they can put it back and take something else. So we did a little swapping the other week, and she left me a lot of sweaters, and she took a lot of sweaters. So she did a little rotation. And one sweater that I have knitted for her a couple of years ago was actually a sweater that both she and her son is wearing a lot. And it's the Starfall sweater by Jennifer Steingas. And it was a sweater I knitted a couple of years ago. And no, many years ago, before starting podcasting. So it must be 5 years ago. And they have worn it so much during these 5 years, but the neckline, as always, has been a little bit stretched out. And for a woman, for me, or for also Christian's daughter, it's fine. I like this a little bit open neckline. But for her son, who is 16 now, he wanted a more tight neckline and perhaps a little turtleneck, you call it. And I decided that I will fix that sweater for them. So I picked up. It was I think it was I-cord up in the neckline. And I picked up, so I left the I-cord actually, and I picked up stitches from the I-cord, and then I knitted up a polo, ribbed polo 2x2. And when I had reached the length that I wanted on that polo, I increased on every knit stitch. So there was 3 knits and 2 purls, 3 knits and 2 purls. And that makes the polo just flip over. So perfect. And when you knit perhaps 5 centimeters more, you can do increases in the purl stitches as well. So you have 3 knits and 3 purls. That gives it a lovely, relaxed polo. We call it polo, you call it turtleneck. So it goes tight up to here, and then you do the increases, so it naturally just lays over. And I have a picture. The sweater is back to its home. But yeah, it's so nice to do these small changes to fix the sweaters that we are already wearing, but perhaps something is missing. So he's very happy with his turtleneck and with the tight, so he can wear it now, and that's good. That gave me inspiration to bring out one of my other sweaters that I have knitted before, and it's the Yay sweater by Rachel. I will write it here, I can't remember now. sometimes they just go, the names just fly away. But Ray Sweater is the name, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry, and I knitted it a couple of years ago in collaboration with a Swedish yarn company here in Sweden, Svarta Fåret, and it's a lama silk, thin lama silk yarn, so it's so soft, and it's really, it's a shame that I haven't been using it, because also the neckline had stretched out and became so wide, and I decided that it's time for me to do something about this. And I actually kept the neckline that I had, and I picked up stitches on the outside of that neckline, the rib neckline, and just picked up and started to knit a new ribbing. So I tightened it up a little bit, and I knitted a new ribbing and one round of purl stitches, and then ribbing again for the inside. And when I reached the same height as the ribbing that was left on the inside, I just binded off and stitched it together. So on the inside I used the ribbing that I already had to just sew together with the new inside of the new ribbing. So it became a double folded ribbing. And I tried to find this sweater now, because it wasn't so long ago since I did this fixing of it, but I couldn't find it. But I hope I will find it, and I will put in some pictures here of it so you can see. Because what also happens when you fix the neckline and you tighten it up and you do like this, the sleeves also go up a little bit. And this sweater had sleeves that was sort of like here, so it's not 3/4 length and it's not long sleeves, it's in the middle here. So it was so irritating, so I decided to just rip out the ribbing and knit the long ribbing. So now I have long ribbings on that sweater as well, long sleeves that goes down. It was sort of like 10 centimeters ribbing, but I think that's also quite nice, because it became a sort of dominant, more dominant neckline now when I did the extra double folded neckline. Before it was like 5 centimeters, a very neat neckline. But yeah, I have a more contrasting, dominant, more dominant neckline, so it was nice to have the longer ribbings also at the sleeves. But I hope I can find the sweater and perhaps show you what I'm talking about. I thought it was quite clever to keep the old neckline behind the new neckline and then use it to create the double folded neckline. Yeah, so that's also something that I have fixed since the last time. Yeah, it feels good. I think it really feels good. It feels more good to fix old ones and do the small adjustments than to knit new ones, especially when I have so many sweaters. But I have casted on for a new one, don't you worry. This time I will show you a new sweater that I have started. But let's start with the things that I have finished since the previous podcast. It's small things, but I have finished some things. The first thing that I have finished is my stripy socks that I was knitting on. I think I had finished the first one and I was knitting on the second one in the previous podcast. And now I have finished both, and I forgot my sock blocker. So you will have to see them like this, and they are perfectly matching in the stripes. That's very important to me. I think it's my messy brain that needs this so that they match up perfectly. And yeah, really happy with these pairs of socks. It's a really luxurious sock. The yarn feels so luxurious, and I also know it's hand dyed by the Lonely Sock Lady in Denmark. Super beautiful. and this colorway, and it comes like with a kit, so you get this contrasting cuff, heels and toes, a small mini skein together with this self-striping yarn. And the colorway is fall is coming, and that's perfect. And this is the label, the tag that comes with the yarn. And I really did some extra. I did a little bit extra long legs here on these pairs of socks, because with this kit I bought 100 grams of the self-striping yarn, so I thought that why not make one pair of a little bit longer legs that I like. But I still have left of this, less than 50 grams left, so I will make perhaps with some extra, I can stripe in something extra to create one pair of longer socks, but that's not important right now. I'm so happy that I have finished these pairs, and they weigh 77 grams finished, so I think I did only use, like, if the half sets, the half kits would have been 60 grams plus the mini skein, they would have been perfect for me, but 50 grams with the mini skein and also self-striping is keeping me a little bit stressed that I can't match the stripes. But I'm happy for these pairs of socks that are finished. And I was looking through my socks that I have knitted this year, because I have knitted quite a lot of socks. And I have only used my handspun. I have knitted 3 pairs of handspun socks this year, and they are in circulation. But all the other ones, they are nicely put in a basket. Not the box of socks that was so popular when I started to watch podcasts. Everybody was making box of socks. But I have a basket that I'm filling up with my hand knitted socks. And perhaps I will keep them for New Year, for 2023. I can start to wear my new socks. But yeah, it feels really good to have a lovely basket filled with new hand knit socks. And I have also gifted the 2 other pairs from this self-striping yarn. They have been gifted to both my daughter-in-law and also Christian's daughter Therese. So I have also got a pair now of the luxurious sock yarn. I am following a Danish, this is also a Danish, there is a lot of Danish today. A Lonely Sock Lady, she's from Denmark. And there is also Garngalleriet, Birte from Garngalleriet. She is mainly a yarn and wool dyer. But she also creates patterns once in a while. And she has created a pattern inspired by Sophie's scarf from Petit Knit. She has also designed a pattern, a small scarf like this. And it's a free pattern on Ravelry throughout September. Here comes Agnes. Yeah, you want to listen. Yes. What's the difference between this one and Sophie's scarf? This one is knitted in the bias, you call it that? Bias. So it's knitted, first you start with the tip like this, and then you have the right amount of stitches here, and then you start to do increases on one side and decreases on the other side. So you knit it sort of, I think you call it in the bias. And I think Sophie's scarf is more like a banana, you know, shaped like a smiley mouth. But yes, she has designed this one, and it's a beautiful one with I-cord edges and just garter stitch, and it's so addictive to knit these things. So I have knitted, first I knitted a black one that is so wearable with all the things, with all the sweaters and all the colors. And then when I had finished this swat we call it in Swedish, the black one, I went up to my yarn stash and I found this Manos del Uruguay in merino silk that I had. I knitted a cardigan, striped cardigan in this and a mustard yellow, super nice cardigan. And it's in my library. I saw it when we were tumbling around in the sweaters. But I had 1.5 skein left of this. So the half skein I brought out and I knitted this little scarf. It's around 45 grams for one of these scarves. So a 50 gram DK yarn is perfect to make this little scarf, and then you just make it as long as you want to, and you can wear it like this, or you can wear it you know, you just do it like this and tie a knot in the back. But I think this is it's a really cute look. I like this look. You know, I have told you before, I'm not really this kind of big shawl wearer. I can knit them, but I don't know how to wear them. But with this little cute thing, it's just the perfect size for me. Really nice. And it was good to knit one black to all the colorful sweaters and one with this beautiful golden brown, and it's pink and it's a little bit green, and it's all the beautiful colors in this one. So it was nice to have a little one with colors and one with black to wear with the colorful sweaters. And the pattern is called Sandkås, and it's only available in Danish. So yeah, I will just mention it, but it's not for you. It's for the Danish viewers. Yeah, I was a scout when I was a kid, and it reminds me a little bit of that look. We had it like this, and with something, a ring that we attached here. Yeah, I really like the style, and I like the small detail of this one, not the big thing that you have to keep control over so you won't lose it on any sides. Or yeah, this is good. And I also like, when I have the big shawls, I like to wear them, you know, when you just make a knot in the back. You put them over your shoulders and you cross them on the front and make a knot, because that way they also stay in place. That's my big problem. But yeah, this is super great, and to this black sweater it looks really nice. It shines. So that's something that I did 2 of them right after each other, and I think one of these scarves took 4 hours perhaps to knit, 3-4 hours. I made in one day, so I had a couple of hours each day to knit. So I finished one of these small scarves in one day. Really perfect. Small, quick knit, and just a little accessory to have if you have leftovers. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. So those are my finished objects for this week. And I have actually started up something new. In the previous podcast I was spinning my camel merino silk blend, and I think I showed you when I was plying. I was finished spinning and I was plying it, and yeah, of course I did do the last plying on it, and it's done now. I got 2 big skeins like this. And I wanted to start to knit with it right away, because this felt so soft and I was so happy that I finished it. So I went up to my yarn room and I found some, it's alpaca from my friend Emma. She had dyed this lovely, what is it, red rusty color. And since I have brown and pink silk in this one, I thought that this red would be so beautiful together with this. So it's a hand spun and a commercial yarn together. That's totally fine. Just use your hand spun. That's the goal, I think. So these 2 colors created a beautiful, beautiful sweater. And you have perhaps wondered why I have been hanging that sweater up there. It's an old one, no, not very old, but it's one of the things that I have been knitting before, and I called it Stripey Heaven. And it's my own design, my own makeup, and I have been inspired by the Anker sweater. As you can see, the Anker sweater is made in ribbings, so it's 1 by 1 ribbing, and I decided to make it 1 by 1 in color, but it's all knit stitches on this one. And I started up with I-cord up at the top, and then I knitted this 2-colored knit stitched yoke, and then I did all the striping on the body, and I did the same as on the yoke, on the ending and on the sleeves ending as well. So now that I finished the spin, and I found a friend to this spin that I thought would be nice, I decided it was time for me to start to knit, and I wanted this time to see how it would look in just 2 colors, because that one was a lot of different leftovers that I had my hands spun, and yeah, I thought it would be nice to see how it would look just with 2 colors. So I started up with this I-cord, and now you saw exactly where I started. You start up by knitting a long I-cord, I think around 120 stitches back and forward. When you have done your I-cord, you take a round circular needle and just put it inside the I-cord all the way. And you flip the I-cord so you have the back of the I-cord. The thread that goes every time you make an I-cord, you move the thread to the beginning on the back. So that's the thread that you are using as a stitch. So when you have put your circular needle inside your I-cord tube and flipped it, you can just use that yarn over on the back side as your new stitch. So you just start and you knit the yoke like this. And I was so happy because I knew I had done this before and it will turn out fine, and I love that sweater, so this one will be just perfect. So I knitted and everything. I actually separated for the sleeves and started to knit on the body, and then I thought perhaps I should try this one on. And then I realized I have made a mistake on this sweater, and I have told you before what's important with yoke to make it fit. This cannot be a yoke that fits. This is the same problem as the Birkin sweater by Caitlin Hunter. It won't fit. So when I put this one on, I realized that I forgot something. Because as soon you can see that this will never be a good fit for me. It's too narrow. I forgot to do the increases after the I-cord. When I put the circular needle inside the I-cord, I must do the increases for the first round or after the I-cord. But I forgot that one on this, and you can see I get started here with. I start with the problem, because when you do the increases before you start the ribbing here, you will get a straight line here. A circular yoke needs to be a circle because it can't fit. Otherwise, as soon as you do this, you can see here you need to have a half circle here with a hole in for your neckline. And if it's not, even though you don't have straight shoulders like I do, at some point you are lifting up your arms like this, and then you have a problem. Your sweater will end up curled up around your neckline. So this one was just a mistake that I have to learn from, and I cast it on for the new one, of course. I didn't rip this one out because I wanted to show you that this is not a fit of a yoke. That will be nice, because I tried it on and I could stretch it, but as soon as I lifted up my sleeves it ended up here. So that's not the fit I want for my sweater. So I started a new one, and this time I did do the increases as soon as when I picked up the stitches on the back side. When I knitted the first round I did do my increases before, so now they are on hold, but you can see here that this line is going out. I have done the increases from the beginning, so I will get a shoulder that goes out, not down. So this will be a fitting sweater, I hope. And I was laughing because when I started this one, I just knitted that one from the head. I didn't write any notes or anything. And this time I decided that I will write down exactly how I do it, and then I have a pattern to provide for my patrons, because my patrons, they will get all my patterns for free when I write them down. But it was so funny that because I wrote everything down on this one, it had to be wrong. So now I had to start all over again, and this time I'm getting it right. So yeah, it will be a nice one. And since I have that sample knitted up, this one is knitted on 3 millimeters, this one is knitted on 3.5, because I have a little bit thicker yarn here, so it's almost similar. But I have this sample, you can call it, with the stripes. I'm sorry, Agnes is moving the camera there. I decided that this one won't be a striped body, it will be with fleece, you know, with dots on it, just to show that you can make two different choices here for the body, and then go back to the striped ribbings on the end of the body and the sleeves, but with flea, you know, the flea cardigan with the looser. So I think that will be quite nice, actually. So yeah, starting again and learning my lesson, but it's no hurry. This is both for enjoying the handspun, both for writing down the pattern for this one, and of course in the end I will have a lovely sweater. But that's not the goal with this one. It was just to make something from the handspun, and at the same time I can write down the pattern for that one. So if you are one of my patrons, you can look forward to see a pattern coming up with this stripy heaven, and you will get the both options in the pattern for this striped body and for the ones with the flea, the dot body. And it's always nice to see knitted up samples, I think, so you can make your choices. And my patterns that I provide for free for my patrons, they are never tested or anything. It's just recipes, and most of the times I am making it in my size, and you have to be sort of experienced knitter and think about your own numbers. But yeah, the Anker sweater is, I have talked about this before, the Anker sweater and the no frill sweaters, they are two sweaters that are made in the most easy way, you can call it. It's so, they have figured, Petite Niche is a genius with figuring out exact numbers for the style to make it fit. So in the beginning, when I started to do the podcast, I was very eager, and I did a lot of blog posts, and I wrote about my knitted projects, and I was very enthusiastic. And I remember making a blog post about Anker sweater, Felix cardigan and ranunculus, because these three patterns are sort of three different styles, but they are so classy, and you can make as many of them as possible, because they are so simple and fun and easy to wear and fun to knit, and yeah, they have everything. So if you haven't knitted Anke sweater, Felix cardigan or sweater or ranunculus, you have a lovely easy knit ahead of you. I really recommend those three, and I have knitted many of them, all three of them I have knitted a lot of. So it's really, really nice, and the way that she builds up the yoke, you can relax and feel confident that they will fit you. She doesn't make mistakes like that. In the beginning, Petite Knit was not so well with size inclusivity, but she has become such a big designer now, so she has made that lesson, and she is making size inclusive patterns, and that's really nice. And you can be sure, because she has a lot of testers and she has a lot of up knitted patterns, so you can have a look at Ravelry at all the different body types and styles and everything. So I really recommend those patterns to you. Felix, Anker and Ranunculus, three amazing patterns, I must say, in the knitting community. But yes, that's also what I'm knitting on. And something else, inspired by my lovely little robin bird that I talked to you about in the previous podcast. I say this all the time, referring back to my previous podcast. But yeah, if you're new here and if you haven't watched my previous podcast, you know that this is something perhaps you can go back to. But I knew that West Yorkshire Spinners, a couple of years ago, they had, the sun is coming and going, they had a Christmas collection, and it was one of the colorways was Robin, and I knew that. And yeah, the dear little Robin, he is growing up so quickly now, and he's still alive, he's still managing out here in the garden. And I decided that I want to knit myself a pair of Robin socks. So I googled this West Yorkshire Spinner Robin and Robin sock yarn, and a company in UK came up as one of the top suggestions on Google, and I didn't think about this because they are not in the EU anymore. But I just clicked home two skeins of this West Yorkshire Spinners Robin, and they became so expensive because the shipping and what they cost, and also I had to pay taxes, of course. So let's not talk about how much money I spent on these two skeins of Robin yarn. I could have perhaps found this in Sweden somewhere, but I was a little bit too eager, and I just clicked and I didn't think, and I had to pay my price. But it's fine. I have let go of that now. But as I also have told you, I have started to study, and some of you have asked me what am I studying. I will be a stress dealer coach. If I translate directly from Swedish, stresshanteringscoach, stress coping coach perhaps. And I have started to take lessons, and there is a lot of online watching, so I can watch classes online, and that's perfect. And I wanted an easy knit to put beside the computer when I sit and watch classes online. So I have started up a little pair of socks. I had some of these, it's Lana Grossa tweed that I have used before, so I have some left here. And I'm using this for cuffs, heels and toes. And something that I forgot to talk to you in the English podcast about before is that I bought on the Sy- och Hantverksfestivalen, the crafty fair that I was to in Gothenburg. I bought this Lykke 2.25mm needles just for fun. I have a lot of 2.25mm wooden needles, but I love the Lykke changeable set of Lykke. Interchangeable, you call it that, the circular needles. My words. And I thought that I want to try the DPNs as well, because I am not a magic looper, I am a DPN person, and I knitted these pairs on the Lykke, and I talked about it in the Swedish episode, but I forgot to mention it for you. But I love them. They are so nice to work with if you are a DPN person and a wooden person. I really recommend this, because I have bamboo wooden needles before, but they sort of get bended, because I am quite tight sock knitter. And yeah, this Lykke was really nice, and I love the feeling of the wooden needle. They are driftwood, and yeah, lovely. Really, I would just wanted to mention, if you want to invest in some new tools and you like to knit with DPNs and you like the wooden, not the metallic, these are something that perhaps you would be interested in trying. I love them. And I also like to knit on my little Robin sock while I'm watching mindfulness classes online. And my husband said that perhaps, Kia, you shouldn't do two things at a time while you are watching the mindfulness videos or classes. But I think you are the same. We are so used to knitting and having something in our hands when we sit, and it's so hard for me to concentrate on something when I'm not doing something with my hands. So for me, listening to, it's not only mindfulness practice, because it's hard to knit when you do the mindfulness practice, but there is other classes, and I need to have something in my hands, because I realized before I casted on for those pairs of socks, I was organizing my drawers, and I was thinking about things around the table, the desk, and yeah. So I realized that no, I can't sit and organize my drawers. I have to start a pair of socks. So they are beside my computer on the other. My crafty room has got a little change. And yeah, the previous, yes, after recording the podcast, the previous podcast, I got computer problems, because the laptop that I have been working on, I have an Apple laptop. It was getting filled, and I have extra external hard disk, you call it that. But somehow, every time I opened up the hard disk, it ended up in the computer, and it was saying that it was filled, it was filled. So we had to install another computer. My husband is working with computers. He is a photographer, and in his company he is always upgrading to have the latest computer. So the older ones, they have just get put aside. So me getting his older ones is just a gift from above. So I have now a big, it's a screen, a big screen. And I asked him, where is the computer, Christian? Because I thought it was an extra thing that was beside. But Apple is doing everything in one, so the computer is in that screen somewhere. So I have a new computer with the screen. So yeah, it was a lot of work to reload the music and a lot of things when I was editing the previous podcast. And some was commenting that there is no audio, but I was going back in and I was watching, and there was audio. So I'm not sure if there is something with the new computer or if there is something else. I don't know. But anyway, having a pair of Robin socks on the go by my computer, and I'm enjoying it, and I love the colors, and I still am feeding Robin, and he is growing and is happy, and I have got so many other birds coming when I'm feeding him. There is a lot of other birds coming as well, so that's really, really nice. But it's getting colder and I don't spend as much time on the porch as I used to, so I have got through my kitchen window I can also have a look, so that's really nice. But let's move on to the giveaway, because time is going and I think under 1 hour is a good time. And I have decided that for my 10,000 subscriber giveaway, you can't really see it here so well, but this is a big lace shawl that I knitted also a lot of years ago. And it's just a repetitive lace shawl with fringes, you call it that, and really, really nice. And I knitted that shawl in 2 skeins of Stenkyrka Ullspinneries single ply. And this is the yarn that I used to sell in my web shop that now is closed. But I decided, since I have yarn left, I decided that I want to give to you 2 skeins of this single plied yarn. Just as a thank you from Sweden to you for being here and supporting me and cheering me on and being super, super lovely. And without you I wouldn't be here, so I want to gift to you a kit for this shawl. And you can knit any shawl, of course, and if you want grey or if you want white, that will be your choice if you win. And if you would like to get this, is also your choice. There is 440 and 480 meters on this, so it's almost 1,000. So you could get definitely a Fair Isle vest, and you could get perhaps some kind of cardigan. It's a it's a single and it's many meters. So if you want it like this, so you want 2 white or 2 grey, that will be your choice. But I will gift 2 skeins on the Swedish episode and 2 skeins on the English episode, and I have more of these, so if there will be 2, both of you want the grey or both want the white, it's fine, you can make your choice. And all you have to do is to comment under this video and say congratulations to your subscribers, or just anything, just comment under here, because that's totally fine. And of course subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And if you want to mention me in social medias or just spread the word, I will be so grateful. That's really, really nice. But that's not the obligation. If you want to take part in this giveaway, just comment under here and you will be in the drawing. The other one is just goodwill. If you want to spread the word, I will be thankful for that. And good morning, just a little small clip here. In the Swedish episode I did a few podcast tips, and I wanted to do it here in the English episode as well, because yeah, there are some English podcasters that I wanted to mention, and yeah, I did a quick finish of the podcast and I forgot to do this. So I have found a couple of new podcasters lately that I wanted to mention. And the first one is Faithful Eve in Wales, and her name is Hazel. And she is a spinner, a weaver, and yeah, a crafty person. And she also lives in a cottage in Wales, and yeah, showing her garden a bit and talking about her life and in general. So I just enjoy her podcast, and I wanted to mention it here as well. The next one is Sia Wool, and she comes from, oh my god, there's a bird in here. It's not Robin, this is another one, a yellow and black bird. He's looking for food. Oh, I have forgot to feed them. back to podcast. Sia Wool, and she's from the desert somewhere. I'm not sure if she's from Mexico or where she is, but she lives in the desert, and she is dyes wool, and she dyes yarn, and yeah, she has a company, yarn company, and I have found her recently because she started to commenting on my spinning podcast that I put up this summer. So we have started to write back and forward, and yeah, just wanted you to mention these podcasts, and I will put links on my website to the podcasts here. The next one is Yarn and Garn, and Yarn and Yarn. And she is Angela, and she's also from Wales. So I was thinking perhaps you are close, Hazel and Angela, because both from Wales, but I also know Wales is big. But yes, she's also a spinner, and I found her through Lisa from the Soulful Spinner, and I have been watching, and I love to see other people spin and to hear her talk about her experimenting with the fibers, and she's spinning a lot on her spindles. So Angela, Yarn and Yarn. And the last one is a really new podcast. I think she only has 2 episodes, and this is A Knitter's Soul, and she is from Norway, and she podcasts from Oslo, and her name is Elo. And I found her podcast because when I was scrolling on YouTube, I found a woman, and she had a big knitted circular blanket on the wall behind her, and it was amazing, and it was in color work. So that's why I clicked on that podcast, and I just want to recommend it to you because she's a lovely person and a lovely knitter. So 4 podcast tips for you this week, and I will keep on doing these podcast tips when I found new podcasts and I remember to put them in. But as you can see, a lovely day today as well, so I will edit this little clip into the video, and yeah, I hope you have a lovely time. So, coming to an end finally, just a little reminder here to enjoy the lovely colors in nature, and all the things that we have outside now is just amazing. Nature is exploding, and we can just lean back and enjoy beautiful autumn apples in this lovely red. So amazing, love it. And this is actually branches from syren. We call it, I think you call it syren as well. And yeah, the colorways on these, not all branches get these colors, but some of the branches in the bush, call it bush, on that little siren tree is getting these beautiful colors. And yeah, if you're looking for color inspirations for garments, just go out in nature and see how the nature has mixed colors. And with this bouquet, the autumn bouquet, I also put in just straws of grass, because it gives another texture to the bouquet with these branches and this grass straws. So really beautiful bouquet, autumn bouquet, and there is so much more to enjoy. Also the rose hips are lovely red now, and I will end this podcast with a little film clip with I think it was last week, because this week has been a little bit rainy, but last week we had these beautiful days, and I was going up through, yeah, up to the cottage through the hage, we call it. We have been through this before. It's the area where the cows are going, not the fields, but I don't know. You will see in the film. We go up through the fences to this place where the cows are, and we just go up through the hills, and the sky is blue. the trees are yellow and the yellow leaves are just slowly falling, and Agnes is running up there and she's so happy, and it's magical. It's really magical. And yeah, just lean back and watch this spectacular show that we are having right now. If you want to support my work with this channel, there will be links under here to ko-fi.com and to Patreon, and I will also have a link to kiasbod.se, where this video will come up with links to everything I talk about today. And have a lovely time, and I will see you really soon. Bye bye!